Hey guys, this is my final project, and as you can probably tell, I'm having to do it on my phone, so bear with me. I think it should work, but it'll be a little bit interesting for sure. So the data I used was touchdown passes in the NFL per year since 1932, and I picked 1932 just because that was the first year data seemed to be available. And I see in this green on the left is the actual year, but I changed it to right next to it years since 1932 just to make it a little easier to organize. And as you can see right next to that is the number of touchdown passes thrown in that year. So give a quick scroll or a very quick scroll of all my data. You can see it was 87 seasons, so I decided to just do an even third of that and make a simple random sample of 29 seasons. As you can see, that I did that right in this little turquoise. It's not really turquoise. These two columns, and I did that just by using the rand between function on sheets. And then you can see I have that's 29 of them. And the topic is the number of touchdown passes thrown in the NFL regular season since 1932. Data source is right here. Access data on the 4th of November. Paste it on the sheet, and like I said, use the rand between function to get the simple random sample. Sample is 29 randomly selected seasons from 1932 with no bias. And the population is every NFL season since 1932, excluding the current ongoing season, just because it's constantly changing and it's just not complete yet. All right, let's move on to the summary of all the data. As you can see on this left again, I got the year since 1932 and the passing touchdowns, just the data. I got it more organized right there though. And then here's the min, the max. I went with 6 classes, and for that the class width would be 132. And as you can see here, here's all the class limits, the frequency in each class, and then the relative frequency. Here's a little histogram. It was all spread pretty evenly across each class. As you can see, the 188 to 320 touchdown mark was a little bit higher than all of them, but for the most part, they were all pretty even. Here's a little scatter plot showing it as well. And the mean touchdowns per year ended up being 437.13 or just 437 because you can't throw 0.13 touchdowns. Mode was 99, mid-range 449, range 786. And all data was well within the fences, so no outliers here. Let's go to the confidence interval slide. As you can see on the left, I have the number of touchdowns again. I didn't bother putting the years in. That wasn't really relevant. Point estimate was the mean, which again was 437.137931. This, and then I concluded from it that I can be 95% confident the true population mean of all touchdown passes in the NFL since 1932 falls between 344.929 or just 345 and 529.346 touchdowns per year. So for the hypothesis test slide, I just had to come up with one on my own. I just made one up randomly. I made up the one I came up with was that in over half of the NFL seasons, so 50%, more than 350 touchdowns were thrown. So you can see there, and then I have the data right here. I just used this column right here. If it was over 350, I just put a 1, and if not, it was a 0. So as you can see, oh, there, and there was my X, and there was my N. Which came out to all that, and it came out to, after I plugged it all in, I rejected the null hypothesis because there was significant evidence that there were more than 350 touchdown passes thrown in half of the NFL season since 1932. And then I did another hypothesis test as well, saying that the mean was equal to the median, as you can see here, and it was not sufficient evidence to conclude the median number of touchdowns was equal to the mean number of touchdowns. You can see right there. And here's the last slide. It's just the correlation slide. As you can see on this left again, I have the data in again, all that, and then the little same scatter chart that was earlier, got the trend line in there. You can see it's a pretty straight line, except for looks like 50 years since 1932. I'm not sure what happened right there, but I could conclude that my p-value was, no matter how many decimals I seemed to add to it, it didn't want to be anything other than 0. So I concluded, since it's extremely close to 0, that there's a strong correlation to years since the 1932 season and the number of touchdown passes. And there's my estimation and whatnot. So I could estimate that 19 years after the 1932 season, 194 or 93, I went with 194 touchdown passes would be thrown. And that pretty much sums up my my project. Hope it wasn't too wonky on the smartphone, but that's all I got. So thanks.